Well, hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'm hopping on today with a quick live/video sharing a quick Pocket-Easel calendar. I've taken this idea kind of tweaked from a calendar I made years ago. I think it was back in even 2010. It was a different dimension, but the easel part was the same. And then also from Stamp Doc, and I will put her calendar from a year ago in the description of this video, as well as in the comments of my live on my Facebook page. But I tweaked some things, and I wanted something that would hold a 3x3 Post-it note. And so that's what I'm going to share. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera over and just get started. Just to keep in mind that at any point, let me see if I can get it going there. There we go. You can order from my website at any time. And if your order is under $150, you can I'd actually appreciate it if you would use my host code. And I always send thank you notes for those who order from me. Make sure that you allow me to contact you. That's a big thing with Stampin' Up, and we've got some changes coming. But anyway, this is the little calendar. It's something that can fold. I suggest you kind of put it like so. You will, if you use the Post-it note in here, you will need to pay probably a little extra in postage to get it sent to your location, because it's going to be thicker. If you choose to do a calendar without the pocket, you can mail it just with a regular first-class stamp. But it's kind of a cool little project, and I'm using some of the paper that's from our Sale-a-Bration brochure, and I didn't even bring my brochure here. With every $60, you can choose one level 1 item. This paper, which is a 6x6 package for each of, not sure, is it 12? There's 48 pieces in the package. It coordinates with the Toadstool bundle that's in our January to April mini catalog. Not a item that I have chosen, but anyway, simple project. But anyway, and with every 120. You can choose, there's a few options for that as well, but this is a level 1 option. So let me kind of talk through what I'm using. Again, these measurements are a little different from the idea that I had seen. So you're going to want a piece of cardstock. I am using Granny Apple Green because I felt it went real well with this particular print. A piece that is 11 inches by 3 3/4 of an inch. And I have scored it. You'll want your paper trimmer. I'm just going to go ahead and pull it out here. You're going to want your paper trimmer. Let's just get this out of the way, and then we don't have that be an issue. With the scoring blade, not the cutting blade, you're going to put it in at, well, let me go the other direction, because if I do it this way, I'm not going to have my measurements correct. So you're going to put it in at a 1/2 inch and score. You're going to put it in at 1 1/2 inches, and you're going to score. You're going to put it in then at 2 1/2 inches, and you're going to score. And that is the easel portion, the stand-up portion. Then you're going to put it, and you'll need your arm out. You're going to score it at 6 3/4 of an inch. And I put it a little taller because I wanted to see more of that designer series paper. Now for the rest of what I'm doing, I won't need this arm. So that's the base. Then you're going to have piece of designer series paper. Again, all of our papers are two-sided unless noted, and I'm going to use the printed portion. The designer series paper has been cut at, hold on and I will tell you, well, maybe I won't. I believe we'll have to tell you this way. So your designer series paper is at 3.5, I believe it's by 4, so that it'll set on the front of our paper, of our card base. So then you also need a piece of Melon Mambo or whatever color you want to coordinate for your pocket. And it is at 4.25 by 4. And it's important to note, it's such a very different part. The 4-inch is the height and the 4.25 is the width. And so you're going to put it in your trimmer, and I would start it so that we have that the height part in, and we're going to score again at 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to pull it down to where it's at 3 3/4 inch. And actually, nope, at 3.5 inches. Then at 3 3/4 inch. Then I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to slide it back over, and I want to score it at 1/4 inch, and sometimes I find it's almost easier to come on the other side, but we're going to, just so I can slide it across and share. The 1/4 inch. Then at 1/2 inch, this is going to allow me to have something to attach to the back of my easel, or of my, of my card base, of my calendar easel. And then I'm going to put it all the way over at 3 3/4 inch and at 4 inches. That's all my scoring. It's a lot like making a box. So then you'll need paper snips or another pointy section of scissors. And you're going to cut out these corners. So I'm going to come in. I don't need this corner. I'm going to cut out this corner. I won't need the top corners either. So I'm going to come in here. And this one here. And you are going to want some strong adhesive, and I really do recommend Terran tape. On my sample I had shared a minute ago, I had used just the liquid glue, and I don't think that's enough. So then, so that I have kind of a way to not have it bogged down. When you're folding things, sometimes you get these corners that fold up, and so it helps if you'll angle. And I want to do the same thing on this inner section. I don't want it on this portion, but I'm going to come around and just angle off all these lower. So I've got a score line. It's hard to see where I'm at here. I'll put it a little closer, you might see. So as you can see it here, I'm angling so that that portion folds in easier. And I'm just going to come around and do that on the outer folds. So clean those up later. So then I don't need my scissors, but I will need my bone folder. So I'm going to fold over. This is the top, and I put a little extra fold on it because I think that it's going to have a little more wear with having something in there that you're pulling in and out. And then I'm going to fold in for the first score, fold over again for that fold, come across here, fold across here, and then the same thing at the bottom. Fold across, and then we have all of our parts and our pieces kind of ready to go other than folding my easel. And so I want to go ahead and do that while I've got my bone folder sitting here. I'm going to fold it across. This is that top piece. This will be the back side. And then I'm going to fold up all of my score lines. And I'm doing that because you want to fold it over where the hump is facing you so that you're burnishing the fibers in your paper. If you choose to fold it the other direction, you'll often get something that is messy looking. All those fibers get a little crazy. But then once you've done the one direction, you can push it in the opposite because we need a mountain fold for that portion of the bottom. So then we have all of our parts. They should end up kind of looking like this before you start going. So I'm going to grab my tear and tape and kind of get this piece ready. You just want to pull off some. I love how easy it is to tear. And so if you can see, I'm going to open up. It's that little half-inch flap at the base. And I just need some on there. And then I find that either take your pick tool or actually just the tips of your scissors work really well to get that relief tape off. So that, there we go. So you throw that, and then if you have it a little longer, you can always fold it back onto itself. But then the beauty of this is we're going to fold it over. So I've got it all bunched up here. You can see how kind of I'm doing that. And I'm going to fold it flat. And that will take care of the base of our calendar. And then this is what I just folded over and taped. I like using this as the front so that that seam is kind of on the back side. And I'm going to grab my Stampin' seal, put a reasonable amount on the front. You could choose to use our liquid glue. And I'm going to attach my Designer Series paper. I liked it without a backing, and that's in large part because we're sticking this pocket on the front. So there's the front. Isn't that cute? It's just adorable paper. Then we're going to deal with this pocket the rest of the way. So we have this half-inch flap at the top. And I'm going to grab some more tear and tape. And I found that I liked having the tear and tape on here versus glue. And I'll go ahead and fold this. I'll pull the relief off. Get that out. I'm going to fold this down, and before I go further, I'm going to punch a little bit of a notch using the 1 3/4 inch. It's hard to see it, isn't it? The 1 3/4 inch circle punch. You can find this in the online store. You won't find it in a catalog. You're going to line it up. I always use my punches. I tend to use them upside down. You're going to make sure that it's even, the gap between the score line here, the score line here, and my punch, and make sure those are the same distances on both sides. And then I'm going to just come down a little ways. I don't want it to come more than 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to punch it, and it will do those two. So then I have a little notch on the front, and yet that's still a little more secure than it would be otherwise. Then I told you I really think you want to use tear and tape, and you're going to find that the tear and tape is going to be a little wide. So if you line it up along this portion, you want to make sure it doesn't go over the front. That's important. Okay. I'm going to keep doing that along all 3 sections. Do the same thing here, turn it around. I find it's easier to see it here. So I'm going to come across, keeping it inside that fold. And I'd mentioned that if you go over, which this is going to, you can fold it back onto itself. I'm going to come down a little more with my camera. I know that's going to move my code a little bit, but I'm going to do that. So I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to do that last section. Line it up here. And it's most important that that tear and tape doesn't go over the front, just because it's easier here. So, got all those pieces. Now I'm going to grab my scissors again. Actually, let's do this one just because it's the one that's hanging over. I'll pull the relief off. There we go. Okay. And you'll notice that it hangs over. It's a little hard to see. Might be easier to see if I show you here a little bit. So you see it's hanging off the edge a little ways. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and fold it onto itself. Every bit is sticky, which is great. Then I'm going to have the ability to stick it on the front. And sometimes that's where this gets a little challenged. And so, let's see, how can we do this? I'm going to go ahead and just pull them all off. The advantage of tear and tape is that it holds real well. The disadvantage of tear and tape is that it holds real well. Okay, so we're going to come, I want to keep it off of that other portion here, and then fold it back on itself, making sure it's not sticking on the inside, which at times can be a challenge. There we go. You could snip off. I may do that on this piece, just because I think it may be a little thick. You know, the little things you do when you're creating on the fly. All right, so then I've got one more piece to remove. So, and again, we're going to come in and fold this all back onto itself so that it's not hanging off on the back side. Okay, then our challenge, it's kind of called your challenge if you choose to accept it. We're going to line it up, and I find it's almost easiest to come in, figure out your line up a little ways, not too far. Center it right to left. And I think I'd like it coming about 1/4 of an inch. So you can line up this fold to the end of the designer series paper. That allows you to see what's on both sides. You can come across and press. Now this one's going to be the easiest because it's open. Then you can fold it back. Hold the sides so that they're perpendicular, straight up and down, to your base. Okay, and then you can pull out your bone folder again and slide it up and down on the inside to give some pressure on both of these so that it helps that adhesive to stick snugly against the paper. Okay. At this point, you have your finished pocket. Isn't that great? And your 3x3 pack of Post-it notes can slide in here just like so. Isn't that cool? And then I have taken, I buy my calendars online from a different company. I will put that link in the description and again in on the Facebook page. They come in packs of 10, $4 a pack. It's really pretty easy. And every year they come up with new ones. And these happen to be their square ones, which are a little bit taller and a little less wide. And again, if you go over the edge of your calendar with your tear and tape, it's okay. But again, you want heavy adhesive on the back. You can re-tear it. That's another option. We could just do that. Thus the name tear and tape. And then again, you'll need to lift up your adhesive backing like so. So fun. And I think these would make great gifts. I think probably better to hand deliver with the pocket, but I always am grabbing for a Post-it note in my desk space. So you're going to turn it, fold your pocket, put it down so that you have an even reveal on the bottom. What's going to happen is, that goes high, make them a little lower. You want it even on both sides, you don't want it offset. Like so, you have a little portion that goes above. I don't think I'm going to end up, no, I'm good. So it's not sticking on my Post-it notes. That's what you don't want. But then when you pull the top part off, which is, they all come this way, then you'll see that we're in the month of January for 2025. So, thanks again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again next week when I have more fun things to share. Again, if you need to place an order, I'll put the link in the description. I'll have it again in on the Facebook comments. But I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a wonderful week.